Recent reports have highlighted a stark reality: Europeans are becoming poorer. In contrast, the US has seen a rise in wealth, with wages growing by 6% since 2019. Looking back, in 1996, its income per capita stood at $30,000. Fast forward to 2004, and it increased to $40,000. By 2011, it reached $50,000. In 2018, $60,000, and astoundingly, by 2022, it had surged to $70,000. Moreover, the rate of this increase has steepened over time. Typically, economic growth tends to plateau. But the United States has seen its wealth ascent accelerate, especially from $60,000 to $70,000 in a remarkably short period. The past 4 years have been particularly staggering in terms of economic growth. While the US has always been prosperous, its exponential rise in wealth, especially post-2010, is noteworthy. Around 2010, the financial crisis of Europe and the US diverged dramatically, with the US embarking on a solo journey of economic dominance from 2020 onwards. This raises the question: why has the US been so successful? A glance at the global top 10 companies, almost all of which are based in the US, excluding Aramco from Saudi Arabia, offers a clue. But this wasn't always the case. The shift towards American dominance in the global corporate landscape has been particularly pronounced since 2020. Contrastingly, Europe's influence and economic power have waned. Once a powerhouse capable of competing on all fronts, politically, economically, and culturally, Europe now finds itself increasingly overshadowed by the US. This shift is not merely economic, it reflects a broader decline in Europe's global stature. Over the last 15 years, from 2010 to 2024, Europe's growth rate pales in comparison to the US's. Europe has grown by a mere 6%, while the US has surged by 82%. This disparity has led some in the US to compare Europe's current state to that of Japan's long period of stagnation, suggesting Europe is becoming progressively impoverished. This phenomenon isn't restricted to abstract economic metrics. It's affecting lifestyles and consumption patterns across Europe. From reduced consumption of luxury goods to a decline in basic foodstuff consumption, European countries, renowned for their quality of life, are now facing a stark reality where growth has stalled, and wages have either plateaued or are in decline. In contrast, the US continues to see wage growth and economic expansion, further widening the gap between the two regions. The reasons behind Europe's economic stagnation are multifaceted. The debt crisis of the early 2010s, particularly within the Eurozone, forced many European countries into austerity, focusing on debt repayment at a time when investment in emerging technologies and industries would have been crucial. Meanwhile, the US embraced technological innovation and digital transformation, propelling its companies and economy to new heights. Europe's struggle is not just economic but also demographic and social. The continent faces significant challenges, including an aging population, a decline in workforce participation, and increasing social welfare costs. These issues are compounded by Europe's heavy reliance on imports and exports, making it more susceptible to global economic fluctuations. Conversely, the US benefits from a diverse and growing population, a dynamic economy less dependent on global trade, and a capacity to innovate and adapt that seems unparalleled. So, what does the future hold? Will this trend continue, or will we see a reversal? These are questions that economists and policymakers are grappling with. Please leave a comment on what you think.